Welcome back to Ozarks Fox AM, and it's time for another Intrigue Journal with the intriguing Sean Paul.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Yes, let's talk about the coronavirus.
Why?
Well, I don't want to be down on it, all right? And I don't want to be making light of it either,
right.
all right?
Okay.
But I feel like people are just, it's very, it's in our conscious mind right now, right? We're hearing about it all the time. But I feel like people are like, picking up the news story, they take it just at face value and they freely just pass it along. Nobody's questioning what we're hearing from. Did you know that the 5 channels, the 5 main channels in China are all state-run?
Doesn't surprise me, Sean
Right,
Paul.
exactly. Yeah, it kind of goes back to things we've talked about earlier, right? Yeah, but let's talk about some positive numbers here, all right? Let's look at, I got this off of worldometer.com, 75,000 people infected. That's terrible, right? That's really bad news. Over 2,100 people have died from the coronavirus. That's terrible.
Yeah.
And look at this.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
Guess what? Haven't heard that? Haven't heard that.
Right, but this is something you never hear about, right?
No.
Because this does not sell clicks.
No.
This is what they're all, this is the drum that they're always beating because they want that engagement, right? If you give people good news, who's going to turn in for that?
Exactly.
But this is a big number.
It is a big number.
It's a bigger number than this number, all right?
Thank you, Sean Paul.
Well, my pleasure. But let's talk about the ultimate disaster. I have a slide after this, but let's just pass over that. Let's go to the ultimate disaster, all right?
Oh,
Do you
I know
remember
that.
that?
Can I?
Do you know what that is?
I do.
Do you know the reference?
I absolutely do.
Okay, it's the end of a movie called what?
Planet of the Apes.
That's right.
I love those movies, by the way.
Right, and it's like the human race gets almost wiped out, and this is how Charlton Heston figures out that it's over by seeing this iconic scene, right?
Oh, yeah.
But they never back then explained how it all happened.
Right.
But then they did a reboot 10 years ago.
With Marky Mark.
No.
Wasn't it Marky Mark in
Well,
it?
that was like a one-off. But then they did
I saw that
a
one.
trilogy, and they did Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and at the end, you know, the human race is doing live and well, but then they come up with this simian virus. And a few people start to contract it. And that's getting
Paul?
a little out of order there. Let's show the end of the movie.
Okay, yeah.
All
Okay,
right,
the
so yes, they show the simian virus at the end of the movie, and you see that somebody gets a nosebleed. And what do you suppose that guy does for a living?
He's a pilot on an airplane.
That is correct. And
I
so
saw the
then
badge, though,
you
Kelly.
now
I wasn't cheating.
do you recognize this scene?
No, I don't, actually.
Okay, well, he goes to work, he gets on a plane, and he just has a little nosebleed, which means he's infected with the simian virus. And then they basically show how quickly it can spread.
From one
Like if you're on an airplane and you get up to go to the restroom, it's turbulent, you grab the tops of each seat.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? So does everybody else.
Absolutely.
So you could go ahead and wash your hands in the restroom, but when you come back, if you grab those seats, it laid out the case, it made the case in a very disturbing way as to how it could be proliferated all over the world.
Are we going to end up like Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, well, if it does, I'll tell you something. I think I'm going to be okay, right? Now we'll go back to that previous.
Well, that's why I never go to the bathroom in the airplane.
Yeah, right there, right? See, does that not
I
look?
hold it.
Does that not look like Planet of the Apes right there?
A little bit.
Which one's Julianne?
There you go. Oh.
Just kidding. I love her so much.
oh, look at that, Sean! Look at that!
Yes, but does he not look like he could talk? We have the same facial
You do.
expression.
Yes,
right?
he really does.
Couldn't help it.
So cute.
Yes, well,
Adorable.
didn't nearly have the effect I was hoping it would. But let's just move on. All right.
Sorry, Sean Paul.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. China seeks court's approval to kill over 20,000 patients. Have you seen that news story?
No.
That cannot be true.
No.
Is that
I had
true?
one of the smartest people I know just blindly share this with me on social media, and I was like, there's no way.
That can't be.
So I went to Bing or Yahoo or whatever,
Right.
and I typed that in, and bam, I got 5 news articles saying, I went to Snopes, one of them was Snopes, and it said, nope, absolutely false.
Oh, hallelujah.
Okay.
All right, and if
Hallelujah.
you went to that news story that said 20,000 people that they wanted to kill or whatever, they were also listing all kinds of other things that were patently false. You know, it's like so-and-so just died, and you look up that person, they're alive and well. And it's clickbait.
Why do they?
It's
yeah,
clickbait.
that's right.
You know, because if you click on that, then your browser gets pixeled or it gets tagged,
Right.
and now they can start feeding you other stories. It costs them almost nothing. Yeah, so this is how they found out that it was in fact false. Then there's another story that came out. Now we were talking about this earlier, that the authorities were going around welding the locks of apartment buildings shut. They were welding the doors shut. Have you heard about that?
Only because of you. Sean Paul was texting me the other night, and he was just running over some stuff, and he just happened to mention that. I go, Sean Paul, that has to be absolutely false.
Okay.
That cannot be true.
I love the fact that you're going to push back on that when you hear something like that. Like, wait a second.
Yeah.
However, it's really scary when people just grab it and they just forward it. They share it, and they're like,
they don't
oh my God,
research it.
no.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. You just go on Yahoo or Bing or something like,
People
just drop.
are so gullible,
It's terrible.
aren't they? You got to research.
gullible's not in the dictionary.
All right, so let's show the video, or just even slide 5.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so if you do some research, and I went on YouTube and I typed in welding the doors shut.
What am I looking at?
I can't tell what
Well,
I'm
can you see the little flicker
I
of
see the
light
flicker.
there?
Yeah, I saw the flicker.
And this is another place where it's happening, and another place. Now, I can't quite tell if that's government activity or if that's just a landlord fixing a lock on a building.
That's true too.
Right?
never
It could
know.
be that, but they're showing it happening over and over again. Are these guys wearing masks right outside the door? I don't know. We don't know. So I can't confirm or deny that that happened. But
We should have worn masks today around Sean Paul.
I know. He's
yes,
been
I'm infected
traveling
with
a
the
lot.
simian
Yes.
virus, right? So anyway, yeah, that came out, but I just challenge every news story. Like if you say that can't be true, a lot of times it can't, or heavily exaggerated. They'll take a little bit of truth,
Right.
and then run with it and repackage it to really sell those clicks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now I know that like 2,100 people dying sounds like a lot, but I want to put this in the context.
Yeah.
All right. So 2,100 people died of the coronavirus. 66,000 people this year died from the flu.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But it's not a new exotic virus. It's been around
Right.
forever, so therefore it's not news, and we can't sell stories with it.
That's very true.
wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That's so sad.
I mean, isn't that incredible,
Yeah.
though?
It really is.
66,000 people, it's actually more than that, have died just from the influenza virus.
Wow.
Okay?
It's incredible.
And then,
That's crazy to think about.
and yet that's nothing compared to 1918. There was an influenza epidemic that broke out, and it took out 50 million.
50
Yeah.
million.
50 1918?
50 million people. Killed more people than World War II. Wiped out
goodness.
1/5 of the world's population.
Was that like a new strain, or was that just, what was that?
It was, the flu is always a
It's
nasty
always,
thing,
yeah,
and people
yeah.
are always supposed to be getting shots. You ever get shots?
Yeah.
Do you really? You got a flu shot?
No, I didn't get a flu shot this year. No.
Oh, okay. Have
No.
you?
No, I
It's a
didn't.
tricky thing.
Yeah,
It's
it is a tricky thing. But here's the thing: they have several strains in there, but that doesn't mean that's going to be the strain that you get. I mean, I don't know. Everybody can decide for themselves.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right. And they say that these viruses can adapt and morph,
Yeah.
and sometimes the flu shot that worked last year might not work.
I have
this
heard
year.
that, though.
Oh,
I've
that's
totally
what I'm
heard that.
saying.
Right.
The
Yeah.
new ones are coming around.
Yeah.
It's actually shocking that any of us are actually here right now. Because
Oh,
you
I
think
know.
about 50, could have been my great-grandpa who died,
know.
and then I wouldn't be here today. You know what I'm saying? It's
Oh,
amazing that
that's
we're all
true.
here
Yeah.
in the first place.
I was actually thinking about that as well. We get on planes and we don't think anything of it, but
Yeah.
they're recirculating that air. You hope they filter
I actually
it.
think a lot about it. Having a suppressed immune system, I always wear a mask on a plane, and people
Do
look
you
at
really?
me weird, and I say, "It's not me, it's you."
Yeah.
And I've got several masks. If you'd like to put it on, they
It's
stare at
absolutely
you.
true.
No, I wear it all the time.
Wow.
On
Do you have a
plane.
picture of that? I wish I would have had that.
I
for
wish
the-
we'd have had that.
Probably.
That would have been
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it's amazing. You're exactly right. It's like, how are we even still here
How is the
when
human species alive?
I know.
Anyway.
Right, 50 million people get wiped out by the flu. How does that, and it just happened in 1918, doesn't happen. Oh, and that also happened before people could hop on a plane and jump all over the place.
know.
And that was before the mass
Could you
air
imagine
travel.
what it would have been then if they
Yeah.
had planes?
It's true. And, TB can be passed like that. People get on a plane with...
Okay, but the moral of the story is you got to challenge anything.
Yes.
If it seems a little bit ridiculous,
Yeah.
chances are it is.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Or
I
it's being
challenge
spun.
everything because I know there's evil people in the world. I understand that,
Yeah.
but you have to think there's some shred of decency that wouldn't weld people into their houses.
right.
It would be almost like another Holocaust situation if that were true, and
Yeah.
hopefully that would never happen.
yeah,
so
absolutely.
just challenge it, question it,
Always look into it.
research it
For the truth.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right.
Thank you so
Sean
much, Sean
Paul,
Paul.
thank you for,
pleasure, guys.
for the good news. There's the good news.
Well,
in
putting
there.
things
Well,
into perspective.
That's right. We appreciate you. All right, we'll be back to wrap things up right after this.
Those
Yeah.
numbers are staggering, though. You
They
don't
are.
hear about the success rate, the 66,000 or whatever.
Well, yeah, 60.